My name's Dale Pickles. I'm director of BSquared, and I'm going to talk about profiling autism, how it can be done, and why it's useful. So BSquared, we've been around for 20 years. We've been working in SEN for the whole of that time, and it's all about showing small steps of progress for pupils with SEN. Our content, the way we work, has been taken by a number of teachers around the world. So we're used in the Middle East, Australia, New Zealand, and various other countries where pupils have gone using our approach and taken it with them. As it says there, over 10,000 schools use our products and over 5,000 have bought our assessment software. So I'm not a teacher. I'm a parent. I've been a chair of governors. I've worked with schools for such a long time. And all that time, everything's taught me that every child and every person matters. And that's one of the things. I go into lots of schools, and you've got mainstream teachers look after the mainstream, and that child with SEN sits in the corner, and I don't have time for them. I've got everyone else to look after. The important thing is every child matters, and also if you can make the classroom more autism friendly or more SEN friendly, it's generally better for everyone. So I'm going to talk a bit about autism, and when we started our project, which is called Autism Progress, which is about profiling autism, I had to come up with trying to explaining what autism's about and why we did it and what we've done and why. And autism is often misunderstood, and a person with autism is often misunderstood. It's really obvious, and if we can improve how they're understood and how autism is understood, hopefully the outcomes for those people will be improved. I don't know, has anyone seen this cartoon, Understanding the Spectrum by Rebecca Burgess? If not, it is a really good cartoon, and I'd highly recommend it for explaining autism to someone. Basically, it's perfect to me. So yeah, if you just Google Understanding the Spectrum Rebecca Burgess, you will find this cartoon. And it talks about how she's not happy, or this person's not happy, with people thinking autism is a linear scale from not autistic to very autistic, and the issues that creates. So a lot of people think of it that way, and they'll assess someone. He says, how can someone be a little bit autistic? Doesn't like it. And he talks about how when you look at a child, doesn't really show that many traits, therefore he's only a little bit autistic, and then put him somewhere and go, okay, because they're there, you can do all of this stuff because you're only a bit autistic. And then what happens if they get put in a situation they're not comfortable with, really can't cope, it's been misunderstood, and then suddenly they're not a little bit autistic, they're very autistic. Need to protect them, shut them off from everything, change everything, limit everything they can do because they're very autistic and they can't do anything. And that's the problem. If we think of it more as a colour wheel, there's lots of different aspects. So she's chosen language, motor skills, perception, executive function, and sensory. Every person with autism will have a different profile within there. They may be more affected by their sensory or their language or their executive function, and each person will be unique. So you can see here they've got some dots on. So for the child in the sort of example, it shows you where they are. It's the sensory filtering that they most struggle with. So you can actually see that their language is fine, their perception is fine, their executive functions. You can see that stuff, but it's the sensory filtering. And it says every person with autism is different, their own traits. They're good at conversation, but they get sensory overload and loud in crowded space, which then makes conversation hard for me. So you may look at these communication skills and say that's the problem because you can't communicate in these situations. It's not, it's the sensory filtering. But having that understanding helps you understand that person's autism, what affects them and how you can support them. And also they've got another person who's perfectly fine with happy and loud places and has a completely different profile. So just because someone's got autism doesn't mean there's no generic traits. Everyone is unique, everyone is different. There might be some similarities, but generally they're all unique. And if you think of the word autism spectrum, think of it as a colour wheel. And if you think of it that way, and everyone is different and every different shades, you'll understand autism better. So, great cartoon, great for explaining autism for those who don't really get it. So as I said, that's Understanding the Spectrum by Rebecca Burgess. So, now on to Autism Progress. So, Autism Progress is a project we've been working on at BSquared with 3 other charities, so Autism Wessex, Scottish Autism and North East Autism. And they wanted a tool to help profile autism. We do really well showing progress for pupils with SEN and autism across the curriculum, but they wanted something to go alongside that to help understand that person's autism. So we work with the 3 charities. It's based on certs, and we used their knowledge, their expertise to develop a tool that works in both academic situations but also in adult care situations. So It's based on SEARCH, which is social communication, emotional regulation, transactional support. So the 4 areas we've used are communication, social interaction, flexibility of thought, and emotional regulation. And the idea is we're looking at where the children are in each of those areas. So communication, individuals with autism have difficulties expressing their needs, delay in development, language, poor comprehension of contextual knowledge, and social interaction, difficult applying social conventions, form and understanding relationships, and so on. Flexibility of thought is controlling repetitive patterns of behaviour or thought, applying known concepts, and emotional regulation, controlling their emotions in different situations, that sort of stuff. So it's quite a wide area we cover, and what we've done is we split those areas into 17 levels. So level 1 is about neurotypical 1-month-old, and level 17 is young adult, sort of 14, 15-year-old. But within those 17 levels, we've got 30, 40 skills within. So rather than just saying they're at a level 5 or a level 6 or a level 10, they will actually work across a number of levels. And what we can then do is build a nice little radar chart across the 4 areas, but that's pretty useless. It just tells me their social interaction is low, because that's the one closest to the centre. That might not be true. If we look across their autism across a number of levels, we might find that within social interaction, it's actually only a small part of social interaction they're struggling with, and not the whole of social interaction. So if we look at development across 4 different levels, across the different areas, we could turn it into this. So the colour in the middle is what level have they got all the skills on. The middle colour is what level have they got half the skills on. And then the lighter colour is what level have they got all this, or 25% of the skills on. And that way, although the social interaction is low, it's not all of social interaction. It's only some aspects. So they obviously need support in social interaction, but in other areas they won't need any support. And we use our Connecting Steps software to do that. So the idea is you can build up that profile, you can mark off what they can and can't do within our software, and then that will build the reports for you. But within this Connecting Steps, it's not a case of just can or can't do something. So we have up to 7 different levels up to achieving. So they can be encountering, awareness, attention response, engagement, participation, involvement, gaining skills and understanding, up to actually achieving it and mastered. So it's not just a case of can do it, can't. You can actually see they're doing it with support. So engagement is the individual needs significant amounts of support to achieve the skill, whereas gaining skills and understanding is the individual needs limited support to achieve the skill. So therefore you can actually see what they can do with support, what they can't do without, and so on. It gives you much more information. So this is how sort of Connecting Steps looks if you've not seen our assessment software. So we've got, this is communication level 10, which is probably around a neurotypical sort of 5-year-old or a bit below, and it looks at what the skills we believe make that up. Anything green is achieved, anything yellow they can do with limited or a lot of support. It gives you a good understanding of where the gaps are, where they need to support, where they need to focus on. So the next steps is where do they need to support, how we can support them. And within the actual Autism Progress content, we've actually put a load of strategies. So when you look at that screen, previous screen there, you identify they need support and communication at level 10. There's then a page of strategies showing you things you can do for children struggling with those skills. We've worked with them with occupational therapists, speech and language therapists, people who are SEARCH trained and classroom-based teachers. And hopefully these strategies will help remove the barriers for that person. And if we can support someone with autism effectively, then we can remove the barriers, and an individual with autism can feel frustrated, confused, and this is often due to their autism being mastered. If we can support their autism better, we can support them better, they will feel more confident, have a better time in school, and build better relationships with people. So Autism Progress can be used within a school. Autism Progress is not a diagnosis. That's the first thing, big thing to say. It's not a replacement for a diagnosis. It can be used before, it can be used after. The language we use helps teachers and teaching assistants to understand someone's autism with simple, clear language. You can use it in a care setting, and this is one of Scottish Autism's main priorities, was they have a number of adult care settings. They want to be able to share with their carers how each person is unique and the support they need as an individual. And then you can also use Autism Progress to help pupils find employment. So if you build that profile of that individual and then you find a place for them to work and you can share that information, you can then support that child getting a job and just getting the company to adapt the workplace to suit their needs. So yeah, to train professional build a profile, but they can be used by others. And what I found over the last couple of years is a big push and a lot of activity about gaining jobs for people with autism. And it's making that easier, making people understand how autism affects people, how it is unique to each person, and if you can support the workplace to adapt easily, there'll be more success. And basically, our aim with Autism Progress is to make people's lives better, make people's lives easier, and remove the frustration people feel. So if you are interested, on our website, Autism Progress, there is a free guide. So it gives you an overview of what we do, the sort of level ranges we cover, the content we cover, and how we do it. So you'll see, if you go to that website, near the top you'll see a download handbook button. Click on that. And I'm Dale Pickles from BSquared, and if you have any questions or want to come and chat to me, I am in the middle, roughly, on the BSquared stand. Okay.